Not only is 8 years a pretty long contract, but also comes with a pretty hefty price tag. Is he worth it?
Well, I think what it really just was saying is that, we are committed to him. And I think that when you look at the mountain that we have to climb, I think that it's fair that a coach feels that sort of commitment from his team.
And how did it go in the final stages of this negotiation, with Buffalo, kind of hot on his trail and trying to get that thing done? When did it come back to you, and were you just kind of waiting for the market to set itself and then jump in with that final offer?
No, I can assure you, and I've said this plenty of times, we went at Mike on day one, and we flew him in, I think, that day. We gave him our financial package the next day, and then Mike went to Prague. I was in Prague. I met with him several times, some late nights, some breakfasts, and I just kept hammering home to him what our vision was for the Leafs. When he left, I sent him another email, just again hammering the same things that we had talked about from day one. I knew it was between maybe us, Detroit, and Buffalo. We didn't know what he was doing. We had another coach in town. We had other options. We were making. And Mike had said to me while I was in Prague, "I hope you're talking to other people too." So we were. But the idea that we swooped in with a new idea or a new role or a new package is completely wrong. We just kept consistent with what we offered him and outlined to him from day one, and it wasn't pretty. I think he knew the Buffalo situation could happen quicker. I knew he had a good relationship with the people there. I just kept telling him, my pitch to him was, some people run away from the biggest mountain and the biggest challenge. When I know the man, I was just hoping eventually he would come around to embracing that. So he called us back yesterday, and that's the first time that we really knew that we were a team that was, I think after he made the decision that he wasn't going back to Detroit, it came down to two teams. And I think that he came to us and basically embraced the plan we had outlined to him before. But it wasn't a last minute pitch, idea, new role. We're not that smart, It was really just about sticking to the consistency of what we wanted.
At any point in your initial meeting, that first meeting where you said you were going to offer, to yesterday, did you ever tell Mike, whatever the Sabres are offering you, just tell us and maybe we'll match or go above it? At any point did you go down that road?
Never. If you know Mike and the character, he was going to get his money. He knew that from day one. I felt that would have been insulting to him. I think once we made it clear what we were prepared to do, then it really just became about convincing him of the fit and the people. I think he was very interested in the people and the character of the people he would be working with. I know Buffalo's mad, but at the end of the day, there were teams that reached out to him that were probably in a better position than us and Buffalo to win that he didn't have interest in. It came down to two teams. They didn't get him. If he chose Buffalo and he didn't choose us, we'd be upset too, but we wouldn't be accusing him of the dastardly things people are accusing him of. He made a very difficult decision. His two favorites that came down to the very end were Toronto and Buffalo. He ended up choosing us. There was no sleight of hand or anything like that.
Brendan, much of the
guys
messaging
have stood here, taken jobs in this organization, spoke with great enthusiasm about how they're going to change things, and within a year or two, their spirits have been crushed. How do you prevent that scenario from happening with Mike Babcock as the head coach?
Well, I think that was part of the attraction of a guy like Mike Babcock. He is a guy that has a thick skin. He's very strong-willed, and it's going to be a challenge for him too. I mean, he knows it. He knows that he's going to have some very difficult days. He's outlined it. The first time I spoke, I just told him the truth about where I think we are in our development as an organization. I didn't want to, knowing the man as well as I do, you can't lie to this guy. And it was about him embracing. He's coming into Toronto, understanding and completely buying into and embracing what we have to do here.
You indicated that there wasn't like really urgency in finding a GM at this point because you're good for the draft. There's no urgency in finding a GM right now because you're set for the draft, but is there perhaps now a little more urgency in finding support staff for Babcock now that he's in place and finding assistants?
I think the moment Mike comes on, he's going to be learning about our organization and looking for support staff too. be able to maximize what he can do for us.
Timeline for that?
No.
When you go to the draft, if somebody wants to acquire one of your players, who do they call?
We all have relationships with people. I think some people call me, some people call Mark. I think if we are approaching the draft and we don't have a general manager in place at that time, I will probably just put something out saying to call me, but they'll be talking to all of us. But I do think you have to at a certain point have a point person to be able to communicate. But that's not my focus right now. My focus is on searching for someone that would be the right fit. And then if we have to go to the draft and we have to make decisions as a group right now, I'm confident in the people that we have that we can make those decisions.
Brendan, every time there's a change with the Leafs, since before you even got involved, the joke has always been, okay, time to line the parade route, and that fans oftentimes get their hopes up right away that you're going to the playoffs or the Cup. You speak a lot about the process, putting the pieces together. I'm assuming, is it safe to say that the playoffs, while they would be nice, are not sort of an immediate goal right now?
I think that what we outlined today was a plan to stick to building this the right way. Mike is not a shortcut guy. It's his job when he comes to work every day to worry about that day, and that's what a head coach does. They take care of that day, they maximize what they have for that day, but the big picture and the vision doesn't change.
What are your expectations, though? When do you think this team will be playoff ready, or should be, or Stanley Cup ready? How much time?
A lot of people. Well, Mike has an 8-year contract. A lot of people want to put a day and a number on it. As I said at the end of the year, it'll take as long as it takes. We don't deviate from the process. We just keep building, and you know what? Sometimes you draft a superstar in the 5th or 6th round, and when you do that, that means you just got lucky. That speeds up the process.
Last question.
If you're pulling guys up, if you're not pulling any guys out of the draft, it slows down the process. So it'll take as long as it takes.
This is a huge contract. What do you think will happen now with other coaches now that they're gonna see Mike with $6 million a year?
I don't know. That's we felt that this was the right guy for us. He's all cities, all teams are not built alike. We have to play by the rules of a salary cap. But if we felt that we had the right coach, there are other teams in this marketplace in the NHL that were talking to him in similar category. We felt he was the right guy. We're not worried about other teams. We're just worried about getting the right guy in place for us. There's a lot of great coaches in the NHL. We feel very fortunate that we have one of them.